This is the Doctor, President-elect of the High Council of Time Lords.
I am definitely a madman with a box.
Anyone for jelly, baby?
I'm the Doctor. I'm 904 years old. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Castabras.
Hey Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And this is episode 46. The sun's shining, birds are
gorgeous
singing.
Out there.
It's lovely.
Yeah, it's really idyllic today. Beautiful day.
It's like Amy's Choice at the moment for me.
Is it?
Just hear birds tweeting and stuff. Yeah. Oh, there is an old couple. There's an old couple across the road as well.
Oh God, they haven't got eyeballs coming out of their mouths, have they?
Could do. Can't really see that clear from here, but
Yeah.
When
you said that, I was thinking actually of because in that episode it's really wet and grey and horrible, isn't it? The actual, and they're sort of trying to make it sunny. I was thinking, oh, do you mean it's not very nice, sir?
No, I just meant there's birds and old people. In a weird kind of way.
I'm with you.
How are you, buddy?
I'm very good. Yeah, I'm very good. So legs are out, slippers are on. Yeah, I'm very good.
The mental pictures that we paint for our listeners must be interesting for you guys.
Must scare them off, I should think.
Legs out in the sun, but with slippers.
Slippers, yeah.
Sure.
So I'm at that age now where I need slippers.
You need slippers. Doesn't matter what weather is going on outside, you need slippers.
Yeah, they're not Tardis ones, unfortunately. They're not like yours. I've still got a bit of slipper envy when it comes to that.
Sucks to be you, mate.
And you got that nice dressing gown as well.
Got the robe as well. Yep.
Yeah.
It's all happening for me.
Yeah.
So
what have you been up to?
What I've been up to? I've been very busy with the old day job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of sucked up quite a bit of my time the last week or so. But other than that, I've just been watching. I watched a couple of Eccleston episodes actually recently.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Because, sometimes when I'm looking at the shelf, I'm like, right, I'm going to watch some Who. What am I going to watch? Well, the classic Who, I'm going to watch some modern stuff. And for some reason, I just grabbed the first series box set. Because I thought, let's just put this on. Because we haven't reviewed an Eccleston one in a little while.
No.
And I haven't really watched much. What's the last one we did? I think it was last month. Was it Father's Day?
Father's Day, yeah.
So I just thought, I'd stick that on. Was no intent really to specifically watch Eccleston, but watched a couple
Which
of
ones did you watch?
So I watched what's the one after Father's Day?
It's not the one with the Slovene.
No, it's not Slovene. It's the what's the one with Are You My Mummy? What's the name of the actual title?
That's a brilliant. Yeah, the Doctor Dances and Empty Child.
Of course. Yeah, how could I forget that? Yeah, of course.
Two of my favourites, actually. I love that two-parter.
Yeah, so I think they're potentially two of, I would say, the best of Series 1.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
Really, really strong story. Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, so I stuck those on, and then I watched the last one as well. Was it Parting of the Ways?
Yes,
Yep.
yeah. Another good one.
Yeah, so I just watched a few Ecclestons because, really.
Actually, Parting of the Ways is still one of my favourite episodes from the new series. I really love that ending. It's really epic as well, because if you think that's is that now, what's that, 2005, so 10 years, isn't it? I mean, I think I watched it not that long ago, and I still think that's a brilliant episode. I absolutely love it.
It's awesome. It's very cool.
And the holographic scene always gets me. Always gets me, that scene. I just think it's brilliant. Does it you? Or is it just
does
me?
a bit, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does grab your heartstrings a little bit.
I love it.
Yeah.
Probably still one of the best Dalek ones as well, I think. Since the show came back, I still think it's a really good Dalek story, that one.
Do you know what? It's not bad for a Dalek story. It's not bad at all. Not much else, really. I've been on a bit of a Red Dwarf binge as well.
Oh, have you? All right.
Yeah. I think... I'm not sure why, because I've had the box set for a long time and I haven't really watched much of it in, I'd say, a few years now, I suppose. But I don't know, I've just gone through a bit of a Red Dwarf phase, so Doctor Who and Red Dwarf's not too bad.
It's a good combination.
Yeah. What about you, mate? You been up to anything?
I haven't been watching much Who lately, apart from the review episode I watched last night. And I got a box set of the Beneath Summerfield arrived in the post yesterday. You know, this the Triumph of Sutek.
Yeah.
That arrived in the post yesterday. So I'm looking forward to listening to that. The only thing is I haven't listened to the first Beneath Summerfield box set yet, because I got that when it was reduced last month. So I've kind of got 2 box sets of listening pleasure ahead of me, but I just need to find some time to listen to it, because I was looking at them yesterday thinking, there's about 8 CDs worth of stuff there.
Wow.
So I'm looking forward to maybe cracking into one of those this afternoon. Might, if I get a chance to sit in the sunshine and listen to a bit of Beneath Summerfield, because I don't know a great deal about her backstory. I haven't got any of the other ones that they did, I don't think. So,
Okay.
yeah, but I think these are pretty standalone, so I'm hoping I can get sort of straight into them.
Sounds good, buddy.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that.
How cool does that sound, actually? Out in the sun, nice cold drink, bit of Doctor Who Big Finish on.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to happen. Whether it actually will is another story. But that's what I'd like to think I'll be doing this afternoon. And I saw you, because you put a post on the Blue Box Facebook page, didn't you, saying that you were, because you love Pyramids of Mars and Seek Tech, don't you? So
Yeah.
I know you were a bit put off by the fact that it's the 7th Doctor, but is it one you might get at some point in the sale, or?
Well, it's quite cheap already, mate. It's only 20 quid.
Yeah. I'll let you know if it's well, actually, I probably won't get to listen to it for a bit, but yeah, I'll let you know if it's good.
Yeah, I might do. I might do.
Have you got any Big Finish that you haven't listened to?
I've got about 3 that I haven't listened to. Yeah. Yeah, I've got this really cool box set. Not a box set, sorry. I've got this really cool box set that I was going to order off Big Finish, but I got it from Amazon in the end. I can't remember do you know what, mate? My memory's going.
Yeah, I know the one you mean, though. It's because I remember you telling me about it. It's the novel.
Yes, it's
the limited edition sort of big book format of the novel adaptions, isn't it?
Yes. What's it called?
Yeah.
Do you know?
I don't know what it's called, but they did 2 versions of it. I don't know which one you've got. They did 2 volumes of it, I should say. One's got Romana on the front. I think you might have got that one. Well-Mannered War. Does that ring a bell?
Nope.
No, perhaps it's the other one then. Not sure.
That's really
Damaged
annoying.
Goods. Yeah, Damaged Goods was in one of them. That's the Russell T Davies story, which I really enjoyed, actually. That was quite good.
Damaged Goods.
No.
No. Anyway, I've got an oldie that I picked up a few months ago. Davros.
That's good. Yes, that's a good one.
The One Doctor.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's Colin. Yes.
Old
Yeah, I
sexy.
like that. Is that what's his name? God, our memory is going. I think that's the one with Biggins in, Christopher Biggins.
It is.
I remember rightly. Yes. Yeah. I haven't listened to it for a long time, but I remember liking that one.
Yeah, that's Bonnie Langford as well. And and the other one is, it's a McGann one, Neverland.
Oh, Neverland. Yeah, with Charlie. Yeah. He's normally pretty good.
Yeah. I love it. Actually, I love Paul McGann on Big Finish.
Oh, superb.
In fact, I love most of Doctor Who on Big Finish, to be fair. But the Paul McGann ones are excellent.
Yeah, they really are. I love the Paul McGann audios. I think so. In the main range, there was some were a little bit hit and miss. They did like this Divergent Universe, which got a bit complicated. But the actual 8th Doctor adventures with him, they did 4 series of that. They're brilliant. Just little standalone, pretty much stories.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Yeah, so good.
Very good.
Not to forget Dark Eyes as well, which was just fantastic.
Yes, yeah. Dark Eyes is brilliant.
Yeah.
And also, what's the other one? This is really annoying me now. What's it called? Do you know what? I think it might be... no, it's not The Light at the End. No, it's not. I will stick it... I'll mention it next episode or something.
Okay.
This novelisation one. It's really annoying me now that I can't remember the title, but... Yes. Anyway,
Our listeners will be screaming out at the title as well.
They will be.
Yeah.
I know it's it's a Tom Baker book. It's definitely Tom Baker.
Right. Okay. Well, while you're landing the TARDIS, I'll Google Big Finish and find out.
Let's land and do the news before we just drive everyone insane with our bad memories. Right. Let's do it. first up in the news this week, we have a possible start date for Series 9. And I think I think I speak for everyone here. We assumed that it would start in August.
Yeah, I did. I assumed because
Yeah.
it normally, I think, well, last time it did, didn't it? It's sort of like the end of August. Yeah.
That's it, yeah. But apparently, we're looking at a September start date for Series 9, which is slightly later. So is that going to lead us up to... Will that lead us up to a Christmas special? Or more or closer to a Christmas special, do you think?
It will do, yeah, because I think one of our listeners pointed out that the Doctor Who festival, that's in November. I think that would have coincided with the episode final of Series 9 if it had started at the end of August. So I think that now pushes it, forward a bit. It's not going to. Because I was thinking, oh no, I wonder if they'll have a big screen. Obviously, no people are going to want to watch the final at the festival. I mean, whether they'd have a big showing of it. But yeah, I think this will push it past that, and like you said, closer to the Christmas special. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. So this isn't official, though. Just want to point out because it was a bit of a fluff, wasn't it, by one of the producers? So Nikki Wilson. Her Twitter name is Red Lachette, or Red Lachette. She just put out a fairly normal tweet. Just says another successful day on the TARDIS. Doctor Who is even bigger and better this year, which is all good. And then a fan jumped up and said, roughly when will the Doctor be back, or when will Doctor Who be back? And she immediately tweeted out saying, "We'll be back in September."
September, yeah, and then she quickly deleted it, didn't she? Almost immediately.
In haste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if they do these things on purpose, actually. I mean, surely they're more savvy than to... Everyone knows that as soon as you put something on Twitter, the second you do it, it's out there.
Yeah.
Even if you delete it, it's still there for a little while. People can screenshot it, and, whether they do this just to create a buzz, I don't know, or whether she genuinely did tweet it and then think, oh, what am I doing? And deleted it straight away. I don't know.
Yeah.
But September. I mean, don't know. I don't like it going by. I'm really, really looking forward to the new series, and I can't wait for it to get here. Really. So the fact it's September and possibly rather than August, don't know. Just means it's got to wait a little bit longer, but hopefully it'll be worth the wait.
Wee bit longer for The Magician's Apprentice.
Yeah.
Cool title.
It is good. Yeah, it is good. And it's a two-parter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Has it actually been confirmed that all of Series 9 are two-parters? Has that been confirmed yet, or is it just still speculation? Because a lot of them are two-parters this time, aren't they?
I think it's safe to say that most of them will be, if not all of them. But that hasn't been confirmed officially.
Right.
But from what we know from the various writers working on, each of the episodes and so on, we haven't heard anything other than two-parters at the moment, so...
Yeah.
So
look forward to that. Okay, in other news, Stephen Moffat, our head writer and producer, he's been awarded an OBE.
The Moff.
An OBE. And obviously he's really thrilled about it, and it's to acknowledge, obviously, his creative writing and stuff. There's a great picture of him smiling. I can imagine he cracked open a bottle of champers when he got the news, because it's quite an honour, isn't it, an OBE?
Oh, yeah. So... For those of you not from the UK or not aware, an OBE is an honour which is granted somebody by the Queen.
Yes.
The Queen's birthday honours. So old Liz herself, she dishes these out. Actually, Russell T Davies he had an OBE, didn't he?
Yeah, he got one back in 2008, which I didn't remember. I only know that because it was on the, they linked it in with this news piece. But yeah, I didn't realise that, so he got one back then.
Sure.
Which is good.
Which is good, actually, because I know that he gets a lot of stick, doesn't he, the Moff, from Doctor Who fans. However, he has wrote some very, very cool stuff. Not just Doctor Who, but his work on Sherlock as well, and some other bits and pieces.
Yeah.
He's a busy, busy man, and he's under a lot of pressure all the time. So, pretty well deserved, I would say.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, you're right. It does come in for a lot of stick, and I think it doesn't matter who's in charge of Doctor Who. They always do. You know, John Nathan Turner, like you said, Russell T Davies, whoever's in charge, they always get a lot of stick. And then as soon as we get somebody new, you automatically get bring back Russell T Davies, bring back Stephen Moffat. So when he leaves, I'm sure there'll be loads of people crying for him to come back and stuff. So, but yeah, it's well deserved. He's done quite a lot over the years, hasn't he? I mean, I always think of him as he used to do that comedy Coupling. I don't know if you ever watched that.
Yeah.
Which was quite good. It was quirky, and even in that he couldn't resist doing the odd sort of timey-wimey type episode stuff. He was quite sort of clever with it for a sitcom. So yeah, it's well deserved, I think, the old Moff.
Yeah. Well done, buddy.
Well done, Steve-O.
Well done, bud. Right, so last up in the news, this is a cool one.
This is.
And I hadn't heard of it until you talked me through this earlier, mate. And it's really cool. So Colin Baker, he was just celebrated his 72nd birthday, is it?
Is he really? Gosh.
72nd? 72, he is, yeah. He's in a new sci-fi short. And it's one of these crowd-funded affairs. So it's not a Kickstarter thing. It's a very similar approach. It's Indiegogo, which is the same concept really as Kickstarter. But so a new sci-fi, Last Man on Earth, is a 20-minute short, which starts filming later in July, and it stars Colin Baker, which you wouldn't have thought he would do something like this.
No.
Awesome.
I mean, yeah, it is good. I mean, there's a really cool little promotional video to go with it. I'm assuming we'll put a link to it in description, because it's it's quite good. They just talk about what they want to do, and obviously Colin features in it, and I mean, it must have something in it must have really appealed to him, because he's a busy chap. Colin, as we know, he's often on the sort of convention circuits, and he seems to be pretty much on the go. So yeah, there must be something about this that enthralled him into it. They want to raise £10,000.
Yes.
Through Indiegogo. I think they've raised a few hundred so far, and obviously it's only just been announced. So was it announced yesterday? I think so. Yeah. It looks good. I mean, 10,000 sounds quite a lot, but I would imagine they could that'll probably quickly add up if even if people give just a little bit, it soon adds up when you think of all the fans out there. So I hope they manage to get there.
Yeah. Well, they raised just over £200 on day one. And now we're on day two. It's up to 1,600 and something. So,
right, cool.
It's pretty good. So they're just over 15% of the way, but they do need some more. So we'll stick a link in there, and if you like the look of it, then do give it a donation. It looks to be very cool. It's do you remember Paul McGann did something very similar?
Yeah.
With the Minister of Chance.
That's right. That became quite a big cult thing, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
Yeah, it's got quite a good following, that one.
Yeah. That raised over 15 grand. So I'm hoping old Colin Baker's one will do just as well, because it's these things tend to be very cool, because they haven't got as much weight and pressure from a big studio or anything, or anything. It's a bit more independent, in its nature, so that they can kind of take the story wherever they want, and there isn't much pressure from sort of big suits in a corporation anywhere. So
yeah,
they're normally very cool. So hopefully this one will turn out just as good.
Yeah, I guess it's definitely something I'm looking forward to seeing, like the finished result, if you like. Yeah, sounds like quite a cool concept and idea.
Indeed.
Yeah. So yeah, good luck with that, Colin, and we'll put the link in the description.
We will do. And and just to close with the news, isn't really we didn't want to focus too much on this, but some news broke the other day. John Hurt revealed that he'd been diagnosed with cancer. I think it's pancreatic cancer. And
yes.
We would just like to say our thoughts are with John, and we hope for a speedy recovery. He seems quite hopeful that it's in its first early stage and should be treatable. So we wish him all the best.
Absolutely, yep.
So the War Doctor, we hope to see you around for many years. And what are we up to this week, buddy, review-wise?
Well, Gary, leave the girl, it's the man I want, it's Timon the Rani.
That was a nice nap. Now, down to business. I'm a bit worried about the temporal flicker in Sector 13. There's a bicentennial refit of the Tardis to book in. I must just pop over to Centauri 7. and then perhaps a quick holiday. Right, that all seems quite clear. Just 3 small points. Where am I? Who am I? And who are you? The Rani! Stay back!
This is idiotic. You'll injure yourself.
Why should you care? Since you were exiled from Gallifrey, you've had nothing but contempt for all other Time Lords.
My contempt started long before my exile.
And what do you want with me? And where's Mel?
She's perfectly safe, but how long she remains so depends on you.
You're up to something. Perhaps I'll find the answer on this.
You won't recognize the planet. It's Lacertia, and there's no evidence that it's ever been graced by your meddling presence.
You're trying to deflect me. So the answer is on here. Quarks. 1 up, 1 down, 1 strange matter. That asteroid is composed of strange matter. What monstrous experiment are you dabbling in now?
Yeah.
I do. If you could hear me giggling over that cliff, I do apologise. It's because that scene reminds me of exactly the sort of thing when I was a kid at in the playground, and we used to play Doctor Who. That sort of technical gibberish is exactly the sort of thing we used to come out with that makes no sense. And it's yes, I must just nip over to Centaurus 4, and these galactic circuits need readjust. I just love that little bit. It just cracks me up.
It's cool.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah. Time and the Rani.
Time and the Rani. So, what's it about?
So this was back in 87. 1987, 4 episodes, 25 minutes each. Pip and Jane Baker.
Yeah, husband and wife writing team.
Indeed. Andrew Morgan directed this one, and it's a JNT produced story. So this was, as you all know, this is Sylvester's very first portrayal of the Doctor. And from what I can gather, the plot is thus. As usual, the TARDIS gets hijacked, which seems
in a rainbow.
Oh yeah, we'll come on to rainbow. So the TARDIS gets hijacked, which seems to be it seemed like that was quite a popular thing to happen to the TARDIS back in the day.
Yeah.
Where I'm not sure where the writers go with this, but for a time machine, spaceship, whatever, craft like the TARDIS, which is meant to be impenetrable and all that kind of thing, seems to get hijacked a lot and placed somewhere of its, independently without the Doctor's whatever. So anyway, the TARDIS gets hijacked, and they land on the planet. They land on the planet Lacertia, and the Lacertians are currently being kind of it's a bit like Nazi Germany in a way. It's like the Rani's turned up, and she's basically just forced them all into living in fear almost. She's put these traps everywhere, and there's flying insect things, and so they're kind of besieged, if you like, and there's another species on this planet as well.
The Tetraps.
Yes. So the furry dudes.
Big bat-like things with horrible tongues.
And eyes.
Everywhere. And yet really bad vision.
Yeah, really blurred bad vision, yeah. So I think, so the Rani's basically taking control of these. So they're serving the Rani at the moment. And she's basically there to do this massive scientific experiment to launch this missile that will blow up this asteroid, which consists of strange matter. And when that happens, it's going to form this shield of particles around the planet. And when it forms, and then she comes back after that, it'll be like a time manipulator.
Yeah.
However, in order for us to have to do this, she's kidnapped some of these very famous people from Earth across various points in time. And she's using all of their brain power and brain waves to make these big calculations and so on. And the last person that she needs is the Doctor. Obviously, that's not going to go smoothly. And in the meantime, Mel is off doing Lacertian things.
Yeah.
Trying to rescue the Doctor and so on. So sorry if I didn't that didn't go swimmingly, the plot there, but that's basically it.
No, I think I think it's a very good sum up. Yeah, I think I think you've nailed it there, mate. Yeah, I think you got all the bits in.
Yes.
So let's start at the beginning, because I was watching this last night. So I was dying to know what was going through your head, because I've watched this a lot. I've watched this. I don't know what, I've watched this story a lot, so I probably didn't need to rewatch it, but I did. I thought, because I've never watched it from a critical sort of viewpoint. You know, this is the sort of story. This is like my ultimate guilty pleasure. It's the kind of story I will happily sit and watch on my own, because I actually really enjoy it. But I would never put it on if anyone else is around. I would never. And also, as I say, watching it from a review point was totally different. Like I thought, I need to watch it again so I can make some notes. And when you start making notes on this thing, my God, I've made loads. I don't think I've ever made so many notes on a story. So I watched it again last night, and obviously it starts with the regeneration. I don't know, have you ever seen that bit before? Because I know you've heard about it.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, because Colin, understandably, didn't want to come back to do a regeneration scene, because he was treated pretty badly when he at the time. So essentially, what we get is Sylvester McCoy face down on the Tardis floor, and when they turn him over, obviously, the regeneration starts immediately. So we don't really get any explanation for it or anything like that. And you can see that it's him even before they've put the effect on, if you see what I mean, because the wig's quite ill-fitting and stuff. But I mean, how could they have done it? Do you think they did it as best they could at the time, or do you think? Because I quite like the fact that they do the regeneration and then they just move on. But I don't really know how they should have done it.
Yeah, there's no. It's interesting because there's no. We do have this period where the Doctor seems quite disorientated and he doesn't really understand why. Because I know that the Rani plays a big part in that. She's basically tricked him into trying to repair this or fix this machine that she's been working on. Yeah. So she does play a part in it, because I think if she wasn't around, I think he would have come out of that period a bit quicker. But yeah, I think they could have. I think they've done it the best they could with what they had, because I think back at the time they were. Which is another interesting point, because from what I understand, this story wasn't written for Sylvester McCoy, ideally. This Who story was written really as a Colin Baker story. So it didn't really play to the strengths of McCoy's character.
Yeah, I think when they wrote it, I think it started off, I think when it was first sort of plotted out, it was very, very different to what ended up on screen. I think they've sort of adapted it and changed it an awful lot. And I know Andrew Cartmel was sort of involved a little bit and had quite a strange relationship with Pip and Jane. I know Andrew Cartmel doesn't like the story at all, and so it doesn't really, all the ideas he sort of inputted sort of are sort of in there somewhere. But it was a bit of a mess, I think, from what they originally sort of thought of as the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think because of that, well, the only other way they could have done it properly, well, I say properly, have done it any better, really, would have got Colin Baker involved, but that wasn't going to happen, was it?
It's never going to happen, no.
No, not at that point anyway.
I mean, the thing is, I suppose they could have just started it with him as a new Doctor, but like you said, watching it again yesterday, one of the things that, the memory cheats on is I'd forgotten how long he's in that sort of strange, trying to work out who he is period, because it's sort of really, it's only in episode 3 that he sort of kicks in as the Doctor. The rest of it, he's sort of bumbling around and, trying to work out what's going on, and just tricked him to believing that the Rani is Mel and all that sort of thing. And, I mean, it takes a while for him to actually become the Doctor, I think.
Yeah, it's the first couple of episodes, really.
Yeah. And I'm just wondering, because not that long ago, we reviewed Mark of the Rani, which I think we both enjoyed. I know I liked that one. I think you liked it, didn't you? From what I remember.
Mark of the Rani. I didn't think it was too bad. I think we gave that a 7 each. Yeah. Yeah.
The coal mine. And this is, I think the Rani is quite different in this. I love Count Amara as the Rani. And I always think she's in it more than she is. So I always forget there's only 2 stories. I always think she was quite a good character. Because I like the performance she gives. And there's a lot of sort of comedic bits in this. I mean, I'm not too sure about her pretending to be Mel, although I think she does it okay. But it's a strange idea to try and sort of even in a comedic way, to try and put across on screen, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why the bit that always gets me is when they're in the TARDIS and the Rani just sort of says, you know, she's watching the real Mel climb across the cliffs, and she's like, "Oh, that must be the Rani," and the Doctor's just like, "Oh yeah, it must be," and she's like, "And she's evil, and she must be destroyed." Oh, but I'm thinking, why does the Doctor just assume that that's the Rani? He just believes everything she says, you know. And I just guess it's because he's disorientated and stuff. But I just wondered how you found the character of the Rani in this compared to Mark of the Rani, because I still think Kate Mara's great in both, actually, but she's more the scientist, a bit more serious in Mark of the Rani, whereas this, she's sort of, I don't know, it's not camping it up, but, you know, there's a bit more comedic element to it, I think, in this one, especially between her and the Doctor.
Yeah, I would. I was thinking about that when I was watching it yesterday, and I think I prefer the Mark of the Rani in terms of Kate O'Mara and the Rani character. Yeah, I think I prefer her in that because there's something in this one that I found a wee bit too straight. There wasn't much in the way of, and what I mean by that is there wasn't really much in the way of looseness around the script or any kind of improv or anything like that. I think she was playing it very, very straight and exactly to the script. Yeah. Whereas you can see that McCoy, although when he's doing like the scientific speech and he's coming up with that stuff, I think he did have to memorize that quite intently before they started filming. Yeah. Because you don't want to get that stuff wrong. But the other stuff, I think he's having good fun with it, and I think he's really trying to get off to a decent start and really try to have fun with it pretty much from the beginning, because we've got the whole playing the spoons thing and and the scene's quite funny when he's trying on different outfits.
The TARDIS wardrobe scene. Yeah.
So there's some really cool stuff like that around McCoy's character, but I think Kate O'Mara, I think she's just playing it fairly. I don't think she's putting too much into it creatively. She's just going through the motions, if you like, with the script. But maybe that's just my feeling on it. But I did prefer her in Mark of the Rani, and but she was still good though. I still enjoy her character, and in a way, I still wish that the Missy character from Series 8 was the Rani instead of the Master, you know.
So do I. I always think that. I think they just did it to try and shake things up when it actually would have been better if she'd have been the Rani. Because I love the character of the Rani, and I think Michelle Gomez would have been perfect casting as a new Rani, because I just think she would have fitted into that role brilliantly. And that's what I mean when I say I always think that Rani was in Doctor Who more than two stories, because I think she's a really strong character. And now I don't think you could really bring the character back that soon. No. Because you've got Missy, so why do you need the Rani? It's kind of made a brilliant character redundant, I think, in a way, having Missy as the Master, because you don't need, you don't need it. But I was just wondering though, because Time of the Rani has got such a bad reputation in fandom. I mean, it is absolutely, slayed. There are people out there that enjoy it, but the majority of fandom, it is regarded as one of the worst stories. It always comes very low in the polls and stuff. But was it the complete shambles that you would think it would be by what people say about it? Was, what did you think of it overall?
So did you mean this or Mark of the Rani as the complete?
No, did I say Mark of the Rani?
No, that's right. Yeah, so you mean this one. Okay, so
Time of the Rani, because Time of the Rani has got such a bad reputation. I just I was thinking, I'm hoping you're sort of going into it with a fresh, go into it fresh, because it is a very much a Marmite story, I think, and a lot of people don't like it. But was it as bad as its reputation, do you think?
I'll be totally honest with you. I didn't think it was that bad.
Oh, good.
And I know a lot of our listeners are probably expecting me to just like go to town on McCoy and take him to the cleaners and all that stuff, but I didn't actually mind it. I prefer Mark of the Rani as a story, and Kate O'Mara and McCoy and stuff. But I didn't think this was that bad. Not as bad as, fandom, because like you say, it does get beaten up a lot. This is like one of the main, like, go-to if you want to have a slagging off session for Who for half an hour, this one probably gets pulled out the bag quite often.
Yeah.
I also think it's a lot better than some of the other stories as well. So it's, in my opinion, it's better than Paradise Towers. It's way better than Dragonfire, that's for sure. And other stories like that. Silver Nemesis is better than that.
I'm kind of relieved to hear it, because I was watching it last night, and it is a story that I've always really enjoyed watching. That's not to say I think it's story-wise or anything is great. I can totally see its faults and everything like that. But I've always really enjoyed watching this story, and I always get quite. I always think it gets a really hard time, and I can appreciate it's got a lot of faults. But I never think it deserves the bashing that it gets. Let's put it that way. I think there's a lot of fun in it, and I just think it is one of those episodes you can put on. And I always say it's like my ultimate guilty pleasure. I just think it's one I can put on and I can just enjoy it. I think there's some good stuff in there. But I wouldn't deny that it's got a lot of faults. And I was watching it last night thinking I really didn't know what you were going to make of it, because I knew this was. I know you're not the Seventh Doctor's biggest fan, and this wasn't going to be the story to make you think otherwise. I thought this isn't going to convert you to the Seventh Doctor. But I'm glad to hear that you don't dislike it as much. No, because I mean there are bits in it. I mean, I was thinking of the first scene where Sylvester's falling over, and it's very staged, and it looks like they've only got one take or something. And I was thinking, oh, this is bad. When you're watching it from a sort of critical point of view, that sort of opening scene is not great, and that sort of thing. But I'm glad that you sort of enjoyed it more than perhaps you thought you might.
Yeah, and I think because I really did go into it with because I knew this was McCoy's first as well, so I thought I'm going to go into it completely fresh. I'm not going to have all that nonsense before the other episodes and stuff. But I think the support cast help as well, because I don't think they were that bad compared to some of the compared to especially Paradise Towers, where the support cast is like they were really scraping the barrel. That's like some of the worst I've seen, not just in McCoy's era, but in Who in general. But the support cast here, I thought was not too bad. The Lacertian guy that accompanies Mel through most of the story, is it Icona?
Icona, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good. He played that really well.
Yeah.
And Bayes and Faroon as well. I thought those guys were really cool. The only well, I can't really beat that too much really, but the actors who are inside the Tetraps, they were a bit stereotypical, like the way they were walking around and stuff. And I think that they were just directed to just walk like a monster.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There wasn't anything unique about those guys. But other than that, really, I thought the support cast was very cool, and I thought the makeup was quite good. We've seen a lot worse. But again, I think that the Tetraps let the bar down a little bit, because the masks and stuff with the weird tongues and stuff, they were...
Oh, the tongues are horrible.
Yeah, they were quite... Yeah. But, what can you expect? We're talking about classic Who. It's not going to be, amazing stuff for monster makeup and suits and stuff. So,
yeah. No, I'm really relieved to hear that. I mean, the thing is, I've come in for a lot of flack from fellow Who fans for liking this story, and I will stick up for it, and I will also, acknowledge its downfalls. But I am relieved to hear that you didn't, because I was coming into thinking, right, I honestly thought, knowing how much what you've thought of other McCoy stories, I thought this one will go two ways. It could either push you right over the edge and you'll never watch another Sylvester McCoy story again, or you might find a bit of charm in it. And I'm really pleased that you have, because I think I recently listened to, well, not recently, but not that long ago, listened to a podcast, a Doctor Who podcast, a fairly popular one, where there were 4 or 5 guys on it, and I saw they were reviewing Time of the Rani, and I thought, right, okay, I'll look forward to that, because it is an interesting story in terms of it does create a lot of debate in fandom, because people either love it or hate it. And I thought, surely out of at least one of these 4 or 5 guys, one of them's got to defend it, to give a balanced view, surely.
Yeah.
And I got about 20 minutes in, and they were just absolutely picking it to pieces. And I honestly, I mean, I'm not that I want to, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and it's right that they give their opinion. But I was thinking, surely one of them must like something. And it becomes such a depressing podcast that I switched it off because I just thought, yes, there are bits in it that aren't great. And you can make excuses for it about the budget at the time and all that, but it really is not that bad, I don't think. And the other reason it's kind of special to me, I think one of the reasons I like it as much as I do, is because I'm not sure how old I would have been actually, but as a kid, I didn't really enjoy many of the Colin Baker stories as a kid. They were just too grim, dark, and violent. Like, I hated the violence that crept into Doctor Who. There was loads of stuff going on with needles and knives and blood and rats being eaten. To me, it went too far. And so as a kid, I really didn't like the Colin Baker stories that much.
Right.
So when this come onto the screen, when this started, straight away you've got Sylvester McCoy is a much more gentle Doctor. So that immediately appealed to me. And this was a
first.
much, yeah. And it got back to being a more watchable Doctor Who to me, this story. So I think that's another reason I like it, because I was starting to fall out of love with the show as a teenager through the Colin Baker. It just wasn't doing it for me. And although this wasn't great, this to me was a sort of a kickstart back in the right direction. I actually enjoyed watching it, whereas I'd been sat there thinking, I'm not like, I wasn't enjoying Doctor Who that much when Colin Baker was on the screen. I enjoy them more now. I can go back and there are some Colin Baker stories I actually really like, but at the time it was just a big turn off. I was just finding it really dull and boring. And I don't know, something about Time the Rani, I just remember really loving watching it at the time as a kid. So I think that's another reason that I still enjoy it now, because it was more fun. We hadn't had much fun in the Colin Baker era. We'd had a lot of death and grimness and darkness, and this was sort of going back to something a bit more fun and enjoyable to watch. And even though perhaps there was too much comedic element to it, it still was a much more fun Doctor Who. So that's another reason that I'll always defend it. Really,
that's fair enough, mate.
Yeah.
So I can see what you're saying as well. The Colin Baker stuff did go a little bit darker, and for Who fans back in the day, we were coming off of the Trial of a Time Lord, and that was a very long-winded. Yeah. I wouldn't say depressing, but a very quite dark and I'm searching for the word to describe it. It wasn't really like a happy time, should we say, for Who at that point. So for Sylvester McCoy to come on the scene and have a bit more fun with it, and so I can totally see that aspect. And I can see why a lot of fans would have taken to McCoy at this point, because it just felt like a breath of fresh air, really, because it sort of nips along at a good pace as well. Like you said, with the Trial of the Time Lord, we'd had sort of week after week of him sat in there, and it just felt really like a bit of a slog at the the time. And with this, it seemed more fun, and you'd got like people getting trapped in these spinning bubbles, and there was stuff going on, and it was bright, and and like you said, there was sort of humour in it. It just seemed like a breath of fresh air to me at the time, and I think that's one of the reasons I still really enjoy watching it. There is one thing, though. Mm-hmm. Well, I say one thing. I did get a little bit bored as I got into part 3. Yeah. I was starting to fade out a little bit, and I thought I think this would have been a really good 2-parter, or even a 3-parter maybe. Yeah. So I was starting to switch off a bit as we got into part 3, and then for the first sort of 10 minutes or so of part 4 before the finale sort of kicked in and the story got wrapped up. But otherwise,
there's no doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, episode 3 does yeah, absolutely, because the storyline isn't strong enough at all to sustain over those 4 episodes. That's totally true. Because I find when we get to episode 4, we suddenly sort of get introduced to some other interesting bits that perhaps they should have brought forward sooner. Like, we go to the what's it called? It made me laugh. The centre of leisure.
The centre of leisure, yeah.
With the big death ball, which really makes it laugh. Maybe if we'd seen that a bit sooner, because we might have cared a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, it's all sort of everything's thrown into episode 4, isn't it? It's just everything in the kitchen sink. You get the big giant brain, and it's all kicking off. And yeah, I know what you mean. The story is a bit weak for the sort of to sustain 4 episodes. I agree with you.
Yeah. So that's not really. I mean, I think a lot of people do say that with classic Who, that especially the ones that are at least 4 parts. There's always one, sometimes 2 episodes that it does kind of draw out a little bit, and the pacing gets a bit slower. But and
it is quite messy, isn't it? Because they seem to sort of there's so many ideas being thrown in here that they don't seem to know where they're going with it a lot of the time. And there's the Doctor keeps coming out with these silly proverbs, getting it wrong, doesn't he? Like a bull in a barber shop and fit as a trombone, and what else does he come out with? All sorts. Absence makes the nose grow longer. All these things that were sort of going to be part of his character that they dropped immediately in the next story. And there's lots of things going on in the script that is quite messy, if you like. They're just sort of throwing everything in there.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you reckon the Rani got free from Mark and the Rod?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because that ends with her and the Master trapped with that that dinosaur in the jar getting bigger and bigger, doesn't it?
Yeah, she was really jammed up. How do you reckon she got out of that?
Well, it's not mentioned. I don't know. She's just, I don't know. And at the end of this one, she's kind of trapped again, isn't she? The Tech traps.
Yep.
Trap her in the TARDIS at the end as well. Actually, I must say, talking of that TARDIS, isn't it a shame that we got that gorgeous set in Mark of the Rani for the Rani's TARDIS, that lovely console, the black console with the spinning thing.
That's
and
awesome.
In this one, it's blimmin' awful. So I had to moderate my language. It's awful, isn't it? I think it's even just a model with CSO. They've CSO'd them into it or something. It's nothing like that brilliant set that we got in Mark of the Rani, is it?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I love that set in Mark of the Rani.
Obviously, it didn't survive storage because they would have reused it, wouldn't they? But
of course,
it's such a shame because it's not that many years between the two, is it? You'd have thought they'd have still had it kicking around, even if the walls had gone a bit wobbly.
It's a shame because this one was a bit lackluster in its design.
Oh, it's nowhere near. And also the sort of pyramid shape, it's so 80s, isn't it? The actual outside of it, I mean, as well, with the mirrored pyramids and stuff. It looks like something out of a fairground ride. But what did you think of the effects though, of the ball, when they step on these traps and then they get the balls spin off and explode into the walls and stuff? And what do you think of that?
It wasn't too bad.
For the time?
Yeah, for the time.
Yeah.
It wasn't
I think it's quite a nice idea. I mean, maybe not visualised brilliantly, but I think it's quite a cool little idea. And I do remember thinking at the time, I wasn't the biggest fan of Mel back in the day. And I do remember, sounds awful to say, but I do remember thinking at the cliffhanger at the end of episode 1 where she's trapped in the ball, and I thought, there's no way she can get out of it. She's going to die. And I do remember thinking, I hope they are going to replace her. Which I don't feel so much now, but I did at the time.
Okay.
But I like the way they get out of it, because I do remember thinking, how's she going to escape from that? Because we've seen how it, kills people earlier on in the series, like that skeleton and stuff. And I think it's quite cool that she lands in water, and that's why it doesn't hit the explosive on the bottom of it. It's just a really sort of simple get out, I thought. But her screaming is horrendous.
Oh, God,
I was thinking, give it. I mean, I know she is known for her screaming, but she does a lot of it in this story.
She does.
Especially that scene. It's almost unbearable, isn't it? I think he even says it in the script, actually, doesn't he? He says something like, if you don't stop squawking, it'll be your last. Yeah, which I thought, that's
he
cool.
probably
It's a
meant
nice
that.
play on it.
He probably meant that for real.
Yeah, he's not bad. You're right, actually, that guy, O'Connor. He's not bad at all.
It's cool.
Yeah, and the scene with the skeleton and I can't remember. It's not. What's the mum called? It's supposed to be a daughter, isn't it? It's quite touching. I mean, it's like you said, considering these guys are under a load of little sticky plasters or whatever they got on their face, isn't that? They do manage to eject a little bit of. I was going to say realism, but that's probably not the word. But you know what I mean. It makes a nice scene. They do manage to do it.
Yeah.
Do it well, I think.
Yeah, and they used the same effect that they used in a lot of Who stories back in the day, where when they're on an alien planet, they feel they need to make the sky like a purpley colour or pink or
Yeah.
that sort of thing, and that can have a bit of. I think that's a bit overused back in the 70s and 80s, because what happens is you have to kind of mask out the foreground, and you end up with this real horrible jagged line around cliff edges and tops of buildings and stuff like that. But yeah, what can you do? It's
not a bad location, actually. I mean, for a quarry, I think
classic quarry from Classic Who.
Quarry. Yeah, it works quite well, I think. I like her big, the entrance to her sort of laboratory with the big, it's very over the top, but it works okay. But I know what you mean about the sky. I think especially because it's filmed on such low budget videotape as well, isn't it? Back then, it really bleeds through on the screen. Yeah, there's a bit actually I really did think of you because Sylvester's accent. Scottish accent is quite prominent, isn't it, in this?
Yes. Yep.
And there is a bit where I can't roll my R, so I can't do it. Maybe you can. But he goes, a rock that talks. And I thought, oh my God, Gary will have thrown a slipper at the TV at this point.
A rock that... Yeah.
A rock that talks. That, yeah. He really... Yeah, there's a couple of bits where I struggle to understand him, actually, when he's... his accent's quite strong, let's put it that way.
Yeah, he didn't roll his R's as much as I thought he was going to.
Not yet, no.
But he does get into that, I think, remembrance and, he really just goes nuts on his R's.
I did wonder, I did wonder if you was cringing. I guess there is one bit that I've never quite got as well. It's a very lazy bit of writing, but the bit with the holographic Mel.
Yeah.
When he hands over and she, I was thinking, but... Well, how's that being done? Because I can't see any electronic equipment around or anything that would have created this hologram.
I see, yeah.
But that's a bit lazy.
That's a bit whimsical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we get on to reviews, what do you think to the Seventh Doctor's opening theme?
I don't mind it. I actually don't mind it. No, in fact, I really like the music in this episode. It's very 80s, but I actually really like the music in this, and it's by the same composer, Kev McCulloch, I think it is, isn't it?
Yes.
Not very good with my pronunciations, but I like I don't mind the theme. It's not my favourite, but I think it's all right, and I like the instrumental music in this story. I did put that in my notes. Yeah. I'm guessing you don't like the theme to this one.
I don't like the Seventh Doctor's theme. I don't like the video intro, and I don't like the version of the theme either, the music.
See, I love the intro. I love the graphics. I mean, I think I've always loved them, and I like the font that the Doctor Who's written in as well.
What?
But, I love it. Yellow and silver blocks. So, great.
Jesus.
Yeah, I do. But the theme is a bit whiny. It sort of reminds me a bit of the latest theme. Actually, it's a little bit graty. Yeah,
a bit whiny.
It is a little bit, isn't it? Yeah, well, that it's a bit zzz, yeah.
Yeah.
But I did put on my notes. I did like the instrumental music in this. There are a couple of scenes when it's. I think we talked about this in the lodger when stuff is not that dramatic, but the music is. I think there's a bit where they're putting a plate in the electronic pyramid, and it couldn't be a more boring scene, and the music's going. It's really going mad.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? They're trying to carefully put this thing in, and the music's going crazy just to add a little bit of tension. And also, the Doctor mentions his age in this story as well, which kind of goes down when we get to the new series. Because in this, he says he's 953.
That's it. Yep.
But I think in the new series, he's gone down. But then we all lie about our age, don't we?
We do.
We do, especially me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
scores.
Yeah.
Scores on the board. Whose turn?
It's your turn to go first this time.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. I shall give this. I shall give this a 5.
5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a fair score. Yeah.
I'm sure that's been reviewed a lot lower than that many times.
Yes, yeah. No, I think it's a fair score. I'm going to go slightly higher, obviously, because I do enjoy it. I'm going to go for 7.5.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was tempted to go higher because I do really enjoy watching this story, but I'm sort of going for what I think in terms of the actual story itself, if you know what I mean. So from a review and a sort of critical point of view, acknowledging its downfalls, I'm going for a 7.5.
Righty-ho.
Yep, and I do like the big giant brain. By the way, I nearly got my hands on that at an auction once, but it wasn't to be.
Oh,
yeah,
wow. Where
yeah.
would you have put that? Bloody hell.
Goodness knows, in the garden.
In the garden for the cats to rip it to shreds and.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can you imagine the state of it? And one other thing, I've never, and I have watched this a lot, I've never quite got, what is that goo? You know, at the end, there's like a bucket going towards the rocket. It's like she's finally got the Lahargle, or whatever,
Lahargle, yep.
Yeah, she's got it, and it's being produced. What is that goo? I've never got my head around what it is. Is that the stuff that's going to create the strange matter? And
I think that's I think that's the stuff that goes into the rocket, so that when the rocket explodes with the asteroid,
it forms the
Yes.
vacuum. Right.
I believe so.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I would assume. Right. Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to clarify that because it's not very often I get to talk to people about this story. You see, Gary. As I say, it's one that I very often watch on my own, and there's always a couple of bits I wasn't sure about. So it's nice to get another opinion on that. Yeah.
Cool.
Talking of opinions, what did our listeners think?
Yes. So we had just a quick one on Twitter. It was from Peter Adamson, Pedro the Whovian. He says, it's a great story, just a bit too long. Could have worked better as a 3-parter. He gave it 7 out of 10.
All right. Okay. That ties in what you were saying. Yeah.
Yeah. And then over on Facebook, Greg Toby. A nice relaxed story. The sets and costumes are really good. Love the chemistry between Mel and the 7th Doctor. I think she's a really underrated companion, even though this isn't her best story. That's Paradise Towers. 7 out of 10. Another 7. Tom Dix. Hi, Tom. All I'm going to put here are these. And he's put little emojis of like sleeping faces with Zeds. Honestly, though, why the hell did they think this was a good introduction for 7? The plot is not there at all. If I was at the BBC at this moment in time, I would have axed the show there and then, as it truly was a joke of a story. 1 out of 10.
Ooh, harsh.
Harsh times. Stu Gee. There's a lot to enjoy here, despite the behind-the-scenes troubles. The Tetraps and Bubble Traps look good. The Rani's impression of Mel is great fun. Sure, the rainbow regeneration is makeshift, but it does the job. And while the 7th Doctor isn't clearly defined in terms of personality yet, Sylvester does a decent job with the material he's given. Underrated. George Coppen. Love it. This episode is seriously underrated. 7 out of 10. Thomas Andrew Evans. It took me a while to actually buy this because a lot of people said it was rubbish. I completely disagree. I really enjoyed the episode and loved the performances from Sylvester and Kate O'Mara. I personally think this episode is massively underrated, 7.5.
Oh, cool.
Yanto Williams, watched recently. I have to say I like it. Although I think if you ask Who addicts, they would have something to say about it.
Yeah.
Smiley face. Lewis Palmer. Okay, so I actually enjoy this. It's really not a good story by any stretch of the imagination, and Mel is at her worst, but I actually find some enjoyment out of it, even if that enjoyment is me laughing at it. At least it isn't a twin dilemma. I also quite like the Tetraps. Smiley face. Ben Smith. It's certainly better than most people would have you believe, despite the script being rather weak. McCoy gives a good early performance, and O'Mara is brilliant as ever. However, I think Mel is at her most annoying here. The Tetraps look very good, 4 out of 10. Devin Baker. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Horrible, 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 horrible. 1 out of 10. And James Wilson. Who
Addicts.
He one of Who Addicts guys. He's just put, Matt Rowney, you chose the worst time to go on holiday.
Oh yeah, Matthew's been dying for us to record this.
Yeah, so
story to review this story. Yeah.
Yeah, so Matt is the other half of Who Addicts who's away in the sun at the moment. You'll just have to comment when you get back, buddy.
Yeah.
Cheers, James. Though that's all we got on Facebook. Anything on Geeks?
Yeah, I got quite a few on Geeks. I got one from Johnny Edis. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but we know for that. He's just given it 3 out of 10, so I'm assuming he didn't like it. Devin Baker also commented on Geeks. He's put worst episode ever in great big letters.
Oh.
Oh dear. Harry Westergaard, normally a McCoy fan, but this time he says, the only McCoy story I don't really enjoy. McCoy and Amara are really good. Tetraps make good monster, but it falls flat in about every other aspect. Okay. Matt Kelly, dreadful. Still not as bad as Underworld, though. Okay. Stuart Stockwin, yes, my prayers have been answered. Good luck watching. Oh yeah, he's been wanting us to review this for a while as well. Finn Walsh, he says, I really do like this story a lot. Very weird, but it's good in a way. And he's given it 8.5 out of 10. God, he's given it more than me. Andy Francomelon, he says, I love this one. It's camp, over the top, outrageous at times, but has a lot of nice character moments, like Faroon finding the remains of her daughter. As I always say, only come to watch this one if you wish to have fun. Don't take it too seriously. Yeah, I agree with you, Andy. Yep. Peter McCleary, it gets slagged off so much, but it's a lot of fun. I agree. Ryan Anthony. Now, Ryan, I expected to hate this one, but he says, I shouldn't like it, but I do. I quite enjoy watching it. It's not amazing, but I've always enjoyed it. It's away my guilt. Oh, it's his guilty pleasure. Sorry. Love McCoy. 6.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Or Johnny, the person who gave it 3 out of 10, he also said, what wonderful music throughout. Don't know if he's... Yeah, I liked the music. Callum Johnston, he says, love this episode. Something about McCoy's era just gets me interested in the show. Love the Rani in this, 7 out of 10. And I think finally, we've got one from Harry Walker, who says, this is a strange one, isn't it? Whilst I do think that McCoy shows promise in his debut performance, I can't say the rest of the episode has a lot going for it. Even the Rani couldn't save the episode. Mel continues to shine as a bland, screaming companion, and the Tetraps and the scary people are not very memorable. I think Tetraps are quite a good design, just not that great in realisation. But anyway, I don't bash this story like a lot of people, but I certainly don't favour it. Luckily, McCoy's era gets a lot better. 4 out of 10. By the way, love your podcast. Oh, thanks very much, Harry. I'd just like to say I'm glad. In fact, I was really, really pleased to see a lot of positive comments for this episode because when we put the thing up on Facebook, I prepared myself for it to be absolutely annihilated. I thought people are going to right. A lot of people have been waiting for us to review, and I thought they're all going to go for it. Because I think it's a bit of an easy target, if I'm honest. So I am really. I know we got it was a good balanced review with your comments. So I'm really pleased that you listeners. Some of you hate it, some of you like it, but I was really pleased that we got so many positive comments as well, and I was really surprised. So I'm happy.
Cool. It's and I'm sure a lot of you guys are surprised to hear that I didn't mind it, because I'm out of the two of us, I normally give McCoy a good bashing.
I honestly thought you would. I honestly thought you were going to hate it. Yeah,
where you're normally the one to go to bat, so to speak, for McCoy quite a lot. So, but that's the cool thing, though. I would rather that people were like, I love it, or I like it, or at the other end of the spectrum, I hate it, I can't stand it, rather than people be indifferent. It's really cool to have, and this is a great example of why we pick these episodes for review, isn't it? Because we could go down the road of picking out all of the really common, well-reviewed, well-rated episodes, but what'd be the fun in that?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, Time and the Rani, 7.5 for you, 5 for me. I think that's quite reasonable for a story that gets destroyed a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But what have we got next week?
Next week, well, we're going to revisit McGann's TV story. So we're going to be talking about the TV movie. I always wish it got a title, don't you? TV movie. Just sounds really boring, doesn't it? But yes, the McGann American TV movie is what we're doing next week. Yeah,
I've been looking forward to this one because we hardly ever talk about it, really. I think we've mentioned a couple of little bits about McGann in the past, and I think I've mentioned that the music's very cool.
It is, yeah.
But other than that, it kind of gets left behind, old McGann.
It does.
So looking forward to talking through that one, and I'm really intrigued to see what your thoughts are going to be on that one, Adam, because like I said, we never really talk about it.
No. Yeah. And I'm not even sure what my thoughts are on it, because although I've watched it a few times, it hasn't been watched for a while. Like I said, it is one I kind of forget about, and I love McGann as the Doctor, but of course I very often think of audio stories if we talk about McGann. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to go back and see him on screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you guys will be. I think you'll find our thoughts interesting on this one because yes, I've got quite a few thoughts on this one.
Cool.
And I think that will do us for episode 46.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sticking with us through this one. It's been surprisingly cool talking through Time in the Rani.
Yes, no, it's been nice. I prepared myself for battle this morning. I thought, right, I'm going to have to really stand up for this one. But yeah, no, it's been nice, good to chat through it.
Indeed. And thank you guys so much for giving us your thoughts as usual. Please keep doing that. We love you guys for doing that. It's awesome.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed reading through the comments on this one. Well,
Yeah.
I always do, but yeah, it's good to get other people's opinion.
Yeah. Trivia time. Last week we asked you how many people have to be online in order for the Osterhagen key to be used. And the answer was three.
Yeah. When you asked it last week, I thought it was 4. I was trying to go through in my head who was there, but no, it's 3, isn't it?
It is 3, and this featured in what story was this? Was it the End of Time? No, it was a
Stolen
Tennant one.
Earth.
Stolen Earth, yes. So well done those guys who have got that right. We're not going to read through all the people who got that right because it takes too long. But a load of you did get that right, so thank you very much. Question for this week: where is Sister of Mine?
That rings a bell. Where is Sister of Mine?
It will ring a bell, hopefully.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
What story is that?
Yes.
So where is Sister of Mine? Okay.
Yeah. Where is Sister of Mine? Hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. Fire us your answer. So until then, jump over to our website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can check out all the previous episodes, and you can link off also to Twitter and Facebook and all those things. Give us a follow and a like. Also check out Adam's YouTube channel, The Geek's Handbag.
Yeah.
Got some great stuff on there.
Yeah. That convention video is on its way.
It's on its way.
It's taken me forever, but I'm doing the commentary for it, which is what's taken so long. But it's so close to getting done, and I'll be so relieved. I've been working on it forever, so I hope it's worth the wait. But yeah, that'll be coming soon.
Coolio.
For anyone that was screaming out at us earlier when we were talking about the Big Finish box set, I think I've found the one you've got, Gary. It's is it The Romance of Crime and the English Way of Death?
I think so.
Okay, we'll go with that.
We'll go with that one. We'll go with the yes.
Yeah, we'll go.
Yeah, I'll correct next week if it's not.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So once again, thank you very much. We will see you next time. Have a great week. Until then, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And Alonzi!